All right, well, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, citizens of YouTube. This is Pastor Dowell. I can only fathom one thing as I begin to sit up here and think. One of the first acts of Joe Biden that he is already pushing forth in the office of the president, or he ain't got there yet, but this is one of his plans, is to roll out a $1.9 trillion stimulus package. In other words, can you already believe that we're at $27 trillion in national debt? And now his first act that he wants to do is tack on another $2 trillion to that. Think about the first move in office. I told y'all that no politician, I don't care who they are, because nobody wants the country to feel the pain that we all really truly need to suffer in order to get the budget balance and for us to be able to live what you call a normal life. Nobody wants to feel that pain. Nobody wants to be the cause of to be the president that says, in my presidency, I'm the one that caused the Great Depression on the American people because I had the stomach and I had the intestinal fortitude to do that which is right, and nobody else has but me. Well, actually, the truth is, none of them have the stomach to actually balance the budget because they don't want that kind of scarf on their names. It's a hell of a lot more easier for them to go to the Fed and ask for money and extend the national debt. I still don't know how we're able to do this. I just don't know. I don't know. It baffles me. But I remember under the presidency of Barack Hussein Obama, the national debt doubled. It went from like 8 trillion, it wasn't 10, 12 trillion or 20 trillion or something like that. Something in the 20 trillion somewhere. I got to go back and look at the numbers. And then, of course, Donald Trump, he helped expand the national debt as well, but he only had a 4-year run, right? And he made sure that he did his job to be able to make sure that he gets all the accolades and nobody feels the pain. So he's done his due diligence in it as well. But can you imagine that if we're looking at under the last 4 presidents, excluding Donald Trump, only 1 term, he was probably heading towards expanding it or doubling it in 2 terms. But can you imagine under Joe Biden, can you imagine this, that the national debt is going to expand from almost $30 trillion to $60 trillion? Can you imagine that? Because like I said, when you start handing out money to people and that's the only solution you got, there's nothing else you can do. And he's coming out with a bang too. Either $2,000 to $3,000 per homestead. He ain't playing around. And can you imagine that? In order to, this what they call it, stimulate the economy. My broadcast tonight ought to be very interesting. It ought to be extremely interesting. You must have forgot something. But I'm going to be on Blog Talk Radio tonight, live at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. You may want to listen to what I got to say, because I'm going to talk about some very extremely important stuff. www.blogtalkradio.com/straightway, STRAITWAY. You may want to be there. Because I tell you, right now the dollar is worth 77 cents. Can you imagine? Somewhere between 67 cents and 77 cents. Can you imagine that? And it's still the world's reserve currency. Also, digressing here on another subject right here. The whole world loving that the Democrats are in. You know why? That means we're getting ready to squabble and grovel at people's feet in order to help get more money to expand the debt and pay the debt. I'm telling you right now that China is positioning itself to become the world's global loan superpower. I still ain't forgot that. Don't think because you're not hearing it in the news media. The news media has been too motivated to smear Donald Trump, and even to the point. Now let's just get real. Forget about what party or what affiliation or what party you're with. Let's just deal with straight up justice, because sometimes people, they get blinded when it comes to this party affiliation. Now, we just had the House of Representatives just totally ignored the rule of law. They didn't have no hearings. They had no discussions. They had, nothing at all. They just rammed it through, regardless of the rule of law, because of their hatred for Donald Trump. And the House has allegedly done impeached him for the second time. Can you believe that? So how does Donald Trump respond? He responds by declassifying all of the documents that the Obama administration had wrote about him and the secrets that people have written about him while he was a candidate, as well as what's going to be done about him being in office. I tell you, you can't even say get your popcorn for this nonsensical mess, because it is a mess. It's just sad what's going on. It's sad what the American people having to put up with a bunch of 70 and 80-year-old people acting like this somebody done took their sucker or took their ball or kicked them on the playground, and now they just want to bawl and scrawl and cry and moan and bawl. And you mean tell me that's the best that we can do for as elected officials? Well, the Republicans have lost. Definitely, they never had control of the House in a while, so they ain't no really lost, but they've gained some seats. But they lost the majority in the Senate. Now Mitch McConnell's going to become the minority leader, not the majority leader. And you can rest assured that anything that Joe Biden wants to run through, now that he has approval from both houses, is going through. You better believe it. We're getting ready to watch debt rain down like rain on us. And we're getting ready to watch our lives change drastically. The only thing that shouldn't change is what you know to be true. And you know what I'm talking about. You better make sure you always keep that steady and right near you. But man, this and the reason why, because when the Democrats in office, man, they love giving out people free stuff. Entitlement mentality. Nobody wants to work for nothing no more. Everything's just hand me out, hand me out, hand me out. I talk about a lot of stuff on my Patreon channel, except I go in greater detail. You may want to consider becoming a patron. I'm telling you, you may truly want to consider becoming a patron over here on my channel. And there's different levels you can sign up at. I got it ranged from $1 to $100 level. Depends on what you want. But I can tell you this. It's getting bad, and it's getting ready to get worse in this country. I can only imagine how worse it's going to get. And remember this. I often ask melanated folks, if Barack Hussein Obama was such a good president, name anything that he did for us. Just one thing. And boy, y'all better get ready, because the way this debt getting ready to affect us, you're getting ready to watch prices in the supermarket soar on an unprecedented scale. How much is a pack of toilet paper now?
Like $17.
$17 for one of those big jumbo packs? For real? Get ready to pay close to $50 for one. Get ready for that. That's what they're getting ready to be with all this debt that's going on. I got to try to put a defibrillator on your mind and try to show you what's really going on in order for you to get it. So if I break it down to that lowest common denominator, you'll see what I'm talking about. And that's bad. Let me see. The people, how much is a loaf of bread nowadays? Do you know?
Like $2.89.
$2.89. Well, get ready for $10 bread. Now let's say $7 bread. $7 a loaf of bread. Yeah, get ready. It has to happen whenever you put out all this debt like this, and you keep printing money to oblivion. Inflation is going to rise. All this to it. And you know what? The Fed chair says, well, you ain't got to worry about nothing. We have no ambitions or dreams at all in raising the interest rates. You can tell people don't know what economy is. They really, truly don't know nothing nowadays. Because the only way to balance this budget is to raise interest rates. It's bad. Yeah, I ain't going to talk about it because I don't even want to pee people off, because people are already upset enough. The country is more divided than it's ever been in the history of mankind. Matter of fact, we're more divided than what this country was in the history of mankind. And I'm going all the way back to 1776 and the 1800s.